What happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object? Spacestation Gaming, Optic Gaming face off once more. They're all too familiar with one another. It is your winners finals here at the Halo World Championship, and the road here has been paved and it's been arduous. Dan, talk to me about this when you're looking forward to it.
I mean, we have a rematch from our grand finals in Fort Worth. It couldn't have been a better winners final here at the World Championship. And I mean, both of these teams know how important it is to get into that grand final from this position. We have never seen a team bracket reset and then go on to win the championship. So it is going to be absolutely imperative that you get the job done now. And we saw it on the desk. The series layout is identical to that grand final reset. The first 5 maps exactly the same. So this bodes well for Optic Gaming. If that was a best of 5, they would have won it 3-2. So I think they'll be very happy about this layout.
Capture the flag then. The stage is set. The game is ready. As we load in, both these teams very good on this game type, but one slightly better.
So Optic did take down Spacestation 2-0 in that grand final reset, but statistically, Spacestation seemed to be a little bit better at capping their flags and returning their flags. Spacestation have an incredible 80% flag return rate on this map. That means it's going to be difficult for Optic to get that flag back to their base. So just keep a keen eye on how Spacestation defend. More on that is Spacestation are also our best team in the league at capping flags on this map out of these 4 teams that are left in the competition as well. So just keep a keen eye on how they're going to be pressing the other team, making sure they're setting up around the right places. Sniper rifle control is going to be everything for these guys. Lucid, we know what he can do, but StelluR on the other side, I'm sure he'll have a job to do as well.
There are 6 world champions on that stage. They know what it takes. Shields up, weapons hot, we're underway!
And we're not quite underway. Shields down,
Shield
weapons cold,
Shield
weapons
cold,
cold,
weapons,
turn them down.
lukewarm.
As we'll get back into it shortly. You saw instantly, StelluR had that sniper rifle, so maybe that is going to be things to come. He is often the one who is given that priority to make sure that they have it. But these are some of the stats that I was talking about. Defending on Empyrean CTF, Spacestation with an 80% return rate. Optic still not bad, 72.2% return rate. The flag steals is another interesting thing though. Optic are more likely to get in your base, start to try and run that flag, whereas Spacestation usually only pull it when they have that perfect setup.
It's going to be so important to see which way this one shakes out. Dan, StelluR's just won the MVP. Talk to me about how important he is to this team, particularly in this series.
StelluR is one of the best players, if not the best player in the world right now. The only person maybe you could argue against him is that other map, Formal. They've both been lights out at this tournament, and we know full well they are going to be key factors in this winners final to try and push the team to that grand final. Spacestation, who haven't finished outside of the top 2 since Charlotte, the first event of the year, will be looking to try and finally make it a Halo World Championship victory. Here we go again as we head into Empyrean CTF.
Take 2. As we load in, Optic Gaming looking to defend their crown. Their title reign has lasted 1 year, almost to the day. They have it all to do here. SSG come back. They've been swatted away time and time again, but is this to be their moment? Shields up, and this time the weapons appear to be hot.
Definitely very hot already, Optic. I've managed to get a couple of openers, and already though the sniper in full effect for StelluR. Again, taking position in sword here to try and catch, but flags are moving and they are grooving. Both teams getting aggressive right now.
The fans starting to find their voice. They could very much be the difference, making the 5th man to drive their team over the finish line here. Speaking of being driven over the finish line, StelluR, sniper rifle in hand, drop ball goes down for TriPPPeY. Heads up play, recognizing exactly where StelluR was positioned, and he has to back away.
Well, we spoke about Spacestation's flag return rate. This is a chance to put it on display. Pznguin with a double kill does get shut down. Flag is still moving, but now StelluR can join the action. Lucid though, snipe on snipe here from top tower.
Snipe on snipe crime, I'll allow it. Lucid, he'll lock that one in. That could just be a confidence builder.
Should be able to get a touch on this one. TriPPPeY will keep on moving it. It spawns over towards Snipe as well. So this is going to be 1-0. Optic starting hot in the winners finals. Forget about those flag return rates. We've got to focus on Optic's pull rate and how good they are at getting behind enemy lines.
The green wall, draw first blood. Lucid now. Looking towards long haul. 2 members of SSG in the crosshairs. Gets 1, gets 2. Defense has been successful, and now they can build on it. Now they can push out.
We talk about Formal and what he adds to this team, but you cannot forget just what a superstar Lucid has been throughout this entire season. Since Halo Infinite launched, in fact. Really one of the pioneers of some of the movement around the map. Happy with any weapon from the sandbox, and he makes it a killing spree before he gets shut down. And if he continues to play in the way that we've seen throughout this season, Optic may well just be on that way to the grand final. Spacestation have to be careful.
Phase away whoever drops down here. And we know how important it is to win this series. Nobody has ever reset the bracket from the elimination side. This game, this series, could not be more important.
Flags on the move again. Pznguin, though, has picked up 1 onto APG. Eco trying to do his best to stop this flag from running. But again, it's both flags that have gone out at the same time, right from what we saw at the get-go. But again, another nade just shutting down players here. Spacestation have lost a couple. Optic trying to press on this advantage.
Formal through green box. The boom box is over the shoulder now. Bounce and a step out. Rocket wasn't required in the end. APG done the damage that was needed. And as he looks forward, perhaps contemplates a backstab here from the mid-bridge. Eco and Bound get a couple. Formal's looking at the overshield. Takes down the overshield. 2 dead apiece here on the map.
We have only seen Optic Gaming lose this game type once all season. Spacestation have lost it a few times, however they have played it more often than Optic have. Very different brackets these teams often seem to go through. We've got to think about the elimination bracket runs that have happened for both sides at different tournaments. As Lucid again will find his home at top tower with the sniper rifle.
S1 now, shields popped. As he looks towards Banana, nothing doing this time. Perhaps anticipating someone would jump up and try to get the cleanup onto him. He goes on the bridge. Could be the victim of Lucid's sniper rifle if he's not too careful. Trying to break the runway, but he's looked away at an unfortunate time. As he now loops around, tries to get a different angle, tries to stay a little bit loose, not being too predictable. Kills going against Optic for now. Lucid knows the push is coming.
Optic still just ever so slightly outslaying Spacestation here, though. TriPPPeY adding to that, and now with that slay, you'd imagine that Optic will try and push out a little bit, but you can see Lucid hesitant to do so. He doesn't want to give up this sniper as Bound gets blown back into TriPPPeY's grenade. 7 minutes and 52 still left on the clock, so no reason to panic just yet as StelluR gets his calves ripped away from his legs.
That's going to be sore on the treadmill in the morning. Oh, Pznguin! Dispatched. Lucid's in fine form here on Championship Sunday. Spacestation need to keep tabs on him. StelluR goes down. Pznguin almost got headshotted once more, but Lucid's forced to back away.
And this really was the perfect start for Optic. Sometimes they struggle a little bit if they find themselves behind in a game, but when they have the lead, when they can control the game in the speed in which they would like, that's when they're at their very best. They have no need at the moment to really push on through and go for a second flag. They're encouraging the push from Spacestation.
Bound sitting on Banana. That is not one of your 5 a day. Lucid's about to find out. He drops back. Overshield's been scooped up. StelluR's got rockets as well. This could spell danger for Optic if they're not too careful. StelluR recognizes he can't push. The timing's not there. He doesn't have teammates in position. Happy to play this one a little bit more patient and invite Optic Gaming onto him.
I think you have to play patient like this. It's such a blind push through green, otherwise you could be pressed from either side and then you give up maybe one rocket. So instead he wants to guarantee these kills. He's listening to call-ups in the moment, but the kills are going ahead of him. So instead it's a reposition for StelluR.
Gets Formal.
No.
Lucid answers right back. 1 rocket down now in green. TriPPPeY looks to close the distance on the Pznguin. Lands a haymaker. Optic Gaming happy to play defense here and wait for their opportunities.
And they're asking the question, what do you have, Spacestation? How deep does the playbook go? Have you got the ability to break through our setup? Says now StelluR, his chance to entertain with a sniper rifle. The
superstar, the MVP, and And SSG need him here. As he goes under bridge. And now at top. Looking for targets, looking for enemies. Finds the shins of APG. Only good to crack the shields. Lucid continues to jiggle peek on flag, not stepping out. But Spacestation now have full control of the map. This is spelling bad news for the green wall.
And a lot of it was the opening kills from Pznguin. He's done it yet again, and now he makes it a double kill. 3 are dead for Optic. TriPPPeY's going to try and make a little bit of a rotation to perhaps stop this flag from being ran down long haul, but StelluR's got eyes on spawns. Flag will get down long. This is a fantastic chance here for SSG to get a cap.
SSG setting up to defend it. Now Optic just going to give this one up. They've lost 2 members in the process, and SSG tie up this game. 1-1 the score.
And we knew it was never going to be that easy. Optic wouldn't be able to just sit on the laurels and sit on a 1-0 lead. Spacestation never allowed that to happen. They just had to bide their time, wait for those opening picks, and it was Pznguin who wrestled his way into the base. Got a couple of kills, and then they bounced off of it.
StelluR falls. APG immediately runs to the overshield. Now slides out. It's an absolute brawl down there. And in the end, Lucid scoops it up. Pops into his chest, and perhaps this is the opportunity and something to build on for Optic.
Doesn't over-challenge though. He knows what a scary position StelluR was in. Just saw a spawn there, a Pznguin, and Pznguin's life wasn't very long.
Penguins are very quickly being put on the endangered species list. Lucid last man standing though. He is in the SSG half, but he's about to change that as he backs away. Slams it into reverse. And the rev meter hitting max. Happy to hold his ground now, under bridge. Refacing over towards runway now. But these two teams so evenly matched.
So close on Slays, just a couple separating the two. Optic have the lead at the moment. Killing spree for Lucid again as he starts to heat up, but gets quickly and immediately shut down under bridge, but bound. Makes it 2, but Pznguin's there to support him. Flag has been pulled as well here. 2 dead on either side.
Formal throws it out. Recognizes it's probably not on right now. StelluR being a pest, putting down some damage. Grenade goes down too, but Formal wins the 1v1, but it's not for nothing. As TriPPPeY comes down long haul, but has to give it up. This is a successful defense from SSG.
Lucid's managed to claim his hands and grab that sniper rifle away from SSG here. Is he going to toss it off the map? That was my question. Did he manage to throw that one away? Because that will really help Optic's chances here in this next 2:45 if they can just take that SSG sniper away. 2:40. Not long left before we start to think about overtime, and we're having a little bit of a clash in the middle of the map at the moment as StelluR and Eco starting to push up, and SSG starting to catch fire now as Eco tries to make it more. Will get it onto APG.
Flag pulled. They've got long haul locked down. Eco's just trying to be a nuisance here. Provide damage in the back as the rest of Optic look towards the flag. But has he overstayed his welcome? TriPPPeY down to no shield, down to no life now. Lucid in a 1v1. All out of ammunition, and Eco has help, has teammates to support. Formal's the last one to be an influence. Formal falls.
And this is going to be 2-1. Spacestation taking the lead with 2 minutes remaining. They may have lost it in the grand final reset in Fort Worth, but now they have the chance to take map 1 here. Pznguin, both rockets going into the overshield to shut down TriPPPeY. How important could that be? But Optic really have to now start to up the ante a little bit. They were very slow, very methodical. They were trying to hold on to that lead. They need to be the ones to just try and encourage some pushes now here. They've tried to focus a lot on snipe control. They've been pushing on the bridge, and it could just be some long haul pushes that are required here.
Just over a minute left. SSG need to hold. They have weapons, and they have presence on the map. 2 dead for Optic Gaming. That's just going to eat away at that clock, because they know they need to wait until they have a full complement of players. As that man bound gets another. As we head towards the final minute now, 3 down for Optic Gaming. The green wall is in trouble here.
Not only do they have to try and desperate themselves to the other side of the map, but they're being pressed by SSG. Spacestation not sitting on their own side and waiting for Optic. Instead, they're saying, look, let's take the fight to them here. That's another one that goes down. Optic are just running out of time because Space Station just drilling that clock into them.
Optic continue to get penned in. And SSG surround them, swarm them like wolves. 2 dead. TriPPPeY and Lucid have to watch their teammates. Formal's gone down as well. Final stages now. They've got to be quick. And they're just not quick enough as Bound gets 2 more. 3 dead. Triple kill for Bound. He's being a menace. As he waits for his shields, time dwindles away. Space Station Gaming claim game 1.
It was a hot start from Optic Gaming, an early cap that they tried to sit on. They tried to defend. They tried to play the slow and methodical game, but Space Station they were biding their time. They were waiting for that right moment. And they found those opening picks. It was Pznguin getting behind enemy lines, forcing his way into opposition base, and getting so many important kills. But everyone on that Space Station roster stepped up in the very end when they had to just press Optic and not allow them to escape their base.
Pressure and nerves all across that stage. All 8 players and the 2 coaches knowing how significant game 1 could have been. And it's gone the way of SSG. The last time these 2 teams met up, we've seen Optic Gaming win game 1. The script is already thrown out the window.
And the good thing for Space Station is, if this was one of the maps they lost, then they would have in theory lost this series 3-2, had the grand final reset been a best of 5. Suddenly, that flips the script, and it's a 3-2 victory if we follow the same sort of antics. But we know it's not going to be that simple. We know from event to event, teams practice different maps. They try and find the weaknesses of their opponent. It was a shame, really, that Optic couldn't build on that first flag cap. They maybe just sat on it a little bit too long. They weren't really pressing SSG as much as they perhaps could have, but it's worked for them historically, so you can understand why they went for it. It was more down to Space Station and the control that they were able to wrestle back.
The shots that were firing, the shots that were connecting. Lucid and StelluR peeling wigs left, right, and center. We get to do it all again in Slayer. Game 2 coming right up that. Streets is going to be the location, and I know you've got something to say.
It's actually the best Slayer game type for Space Station. They're 11-2 across the season. We've seen them really demonstrate what they're made of, but look at those next 3 game modes. Slayer has been Optic's turf a little bit. 42-16 is a ridiculous Slayer record. They've only just pipped FaZe. FaZe, coming into this tournament, were the best Slayer team. But now Optic Gaming, with their victories so far here at the World Championships, will find themselves at the top. But it is Space Station's better game type when it comes to Slayer Streets. For Optic, it's not really as good. It's an 8-5, still a very impressive record, but it's not as consistent as we've seen Space Station.
Slayer strong for Optic. Street Slayer strong for SSG. Sounds like you're telling me we don't know what way this is going to go. Are we even good at our job?
I think it's a very important distinction, though, to differentiate that. Make sure you separate those 2 things, because you can be good at Slayers, but you can be bad at certain maps, and it's something that Space Station don't really have a weakness in that aspect. For me, I feel like Space Station are the most consistent across every single map and mode that we have in the HCS. However, Optic Gaming, FaZe Clan, they excel so much in certain maps and modes, and that's why they found themselves lifting that trophy so many times.
Rock and roll, game 2, Optic Gaming down by 1. SSG in the ascendancy, Rockets in the hands of Eco now. As he backs away to the support of his teammates inside PD. And already we have a little bit of a stalemate.
A little bit of a battle in the crowd as well between the Optic chants and the SSG chants, but both fans loud as ever here at the World Championships, and that's exactly what you want to hear. And I'm sure the players will be very happy listening back to hear the support that they have from that crowd. 3-1 in the early stages to Optic. Even despite those Rockets going in favor, Optic still able to turn it around to make sure they're on top here.
Formal goes down, as does Eco. 3 kill advantage, make it 2. as Lucid's the latest victim to Pznguin's battle rifle. Shots continue to get fired across, but you can see any mistakes here could be detrimental to the cause.
We often talk about the Stalker rifle, the Bulldog, the rockets, how important they are here on streets, but also just watch out for the Sentinel beam. Something that Lucid has been really focusing on streets. He often has it in his back pocket, and the amount of damage you can do with a Sentinel beam, especially over towards the arcade side when people are coming up those stairs, it really is worth picking up, and I'm sure we'll see lots of it here in this matchup.
Nico somehow gets away with his life. Pznguin closes the distance with the Bulldog. Point of contention now over towards arcade. As TriPPPeY, Foreman and Lucid fight out, get one. Bound answers back immediately though. To keep this a 2-kill game as Pznguin tries to help his teammates. The cavalry's there, APG can do little to nothing about that. He'll go down. But Optic still in the lead here.
Very brave and aggressive movement there from Pznguin. He could have really got caught out from arcade, but he knew he just had to help his team take that player down in PD. As Spacestation find rockets yet again. Does StelluR know there's someone there? No, he didn't! And suddenly those rockets are torn away from his hands, and TriPPPeY gets the reward that he was so desperately searching for.
Big game, TriPPPeY. Rockets now over the shoulder. He backs away. Like a high-stakes game of chess here. Pieces moving all the time. TriPPPeY refuses to be a pawn. He's a queen right now. So important on the map. Puncture hole in this SSG hold. And you can see they have the information and they're rotating away from him. Rocket connects. Pznguin goes down. But SSG now have the lead.
SSG have a very slender lead, but the game's still slow, still methodical, still a chess game like you said. It's a good time to jump into the comms of Optic Gaming and see what's going in the brains of these players.
One guy just spawned back square. Back square, one shot.
I'll ban. Clear PD. Bandit, weak, bound. And push purple.
He's one shot bandit, and then back there. On this, bond you guys, bottom nest, bond you guys. He's like sticky, he's like sitting sticky.
Body now.
Draw the rocket.
I saw you, Brad.
Back A
as well.
He's
right there.
Yeah, reset.
Going tires to...
Yo, they have a stalker going market.
Three going
market side. Right here.
It's with stalker.
Walk soon, guys.
In tires to mid.
I have a smoke.
Square to mid.
You're squared him in.
The one guy arcade. One shot arcade.
Inbound nest. I'm helping you guys.
I saw arcade. Yeah, rail.
Still arcade, guys.
Absolute one. Absolute purple spikes.
One bullet rail. One bullet drive.
Where's he going?
We can't drop these. Just get eyes.
Okay.
They have a smoke. They're gonna smoke this rocket, okay? They're gonna
push
smoke
up.
it.
Wait, purple.
He's gonna be sitting cuts.
Three there.
Go rail, Joey, rail.
Bandit. Hold on.
One shot. Two guys on Bulldog, guys. Two guys on Bulldog. Bench one.
Rock's pushing bottom nest. He's going square to tires. Got to run. Alright, slow down. Yeah, got to run.
He's out pushing pillars. They're hard pushing market, guys.
Let's look for Rail.
Rail, Tommy.
Yeah, they know over here.
Let's burn trash wing bound.
Right here. Need that, Tommy. Need that.
One bullet. ATM. ATM. Still one bullet. Nice.
Cuts in purple. Last two. Cuts in purple. Up by the thing.
Look at Ivy.
Watch your back, guys.
He's sitting on spikes.
Think
I think he's sitting on spikes, though.
I
don't think he's there.
Just check out. Just check corners.
Yeah, push out marker here. Help me marker.
Let's check
Deep
here.
press.
I'm saying sub.
Yo, can we maybe hit purple here?
I'm gonna help.
I can.
Yeah, but I think we can just walk at this. Wait, one guy's in nest. He just saw us.
Yeah,
One shot. Half shot top nest.
Bulldog camping.
Yeah, he just used that, right? This shot. Go, really big. Go.
There's two there.
I got it.
Watch Joey.
It almost.
Sing Bulldog.
I can look more.
Okay,
Two there. Be careful.
listen to this real quick.
He's a shot here. They're gonna have a shot.
I think we need to try to shoot off heaven for Joey and hit market, okay? I think Joey just needs to walk up main. Joey just needs to walk up main once we shoot this.
You guys need to get ready to push.
Yeah. So walk with me, man.
Okay. Once pushing up purple. Top A. Share to me. Absolute top A. Absolute back A.
Hey, back up.
We cannot. Cafe still.
The game was slow, it was methodical, but the comms were not slow at all. Very fast-paced action from Optic when it comes to their communication, but you could hear it's almost like a round-based game type for them, just trying to pick apart their push, trying to work out how to get that early kill so they can break this setup from Spacestation. More than happy to slow the game down to take their time. 6 minutes and 20 left on the clock. We may see that clock become a factor with how slow this game has been.
We heard Lucid saying deep breaths. We're only down by 7. Calling for calm. Happy to play this Slayer in intervals and in segments. Break it down. Every time a power-up pops up, that's the time we start to engage. The rockets are down now. That Pznguin will send the rockets back towards TriPPPeY. Combat evolved. They're leaving no stone unturned when it comes to strategies employed. As Lucid continues to ping the rockets, SSG are coming looking for it.
Well, we got to see how Optic would break a setup. I guess we give Spacestation their chance to listen to their comms, how they can stop a break setup.
I can get the rocket.
He went ATM.
Where's the rocket?
I might be able to get it, I don't know.
I'm bitching.
It's gone. It's
Right here.
right.
Can you get his ink? Can you get his ink?
Yeah, I can.
One's bandit, one is bandit.
Live, Adam, live.
saw me, they
Yeah,
saw
we're
me.
up by 10. Stalker soon. Just try to live, Adam. Try to live. Try to live. I have one rocket. We're playing for Stalker. Look at arcade.
Maybe come drop.
We're just playing info. We're just playing info.
Yeah,
Guy bricks.
Okay.
Yo,
Look at
info.
laundry still. I'm looking at laundry still.
All we need is info. We don't
I have a
have to
bandit
move.
and a
We
shot.
don't even have to
I'm
move.
MP.
Info.
Auto middle, Chinese.
And then tires down.
Front C, one shot. Front C, one shot.
Scab.
Yo, on tires. One guy on shotty.
What's he got top A?
Yo, one shotty, yep.
APG's on
Yo,
shotty.
Yo, on me. I'm
here,
Lucid.
I'm looking bricks. I'm looking bricks.
Stay alive.
You're two agents.
I'm just holding. I'm holding for Stalker.
Yeah,
Let him spawn there. Let him spawn there.
Two agents.
Stalker's kind of soon. Block of XC.
You don't have to.
Your top tower,
I'm good,
going
good.
going Bijan. I'm team.
Top tower, one shot.
I'm looking shotty.
Okay, running at it.
Looking
Tires
bricks.
weak,
Don't
they
run.
push me,
Don't
they
run.
push me,
Don't
they
run.
push me.
Okay.
I got one.
NP half, red room half.
I got two.
NP weak. He has tunnel beams.
Kevin, where?
He's dead.
Watch out, Max.
In the shot.
Nice. Could be your C-stairs.
Stalker,
Could be your
Stalker.
C-stairs. Could be your...
And you can really see why Spacestation have so much success on this map and how they can just really slow the game down and delete players from the map so comfortably with their callouts. No one's able to break through at the moment. Every single time an Optic player makes a move, tries to make a flank, they are spotted, they are punished, and SSG have everything at the moment, all the tools they need to win this game.
SSG have silenced the crowd as they continue to get kills. Pznguin with Stalker rifle. Happy to play patient again. The 4 minutes on the clock now. Rockets up once more. StelluR's got them. He sweeps them away. Getting tagged up in the back, getting pressurized. 2 rockets will go down. That means a win condition removed from Optic Gaming.
Down by 15. Lucid gets a remote detonation onto Bound at the very least. But this would have to be the comeback of all comebacks, even though Optic very much capable of it. Without Spacestation playing at the moment, how consistent they've been across the board. As the SSG chant starts to get a little bit louder in the crowd, because I think they realize they are so close now to leading this winners finals 2-0.
Whiskers away. TriPPPeY with a Pznguin will find a home. SSG just one away. And will it be Pznguin to secure it for his team? As he puts down damage on the Formal. APG's in big trouble here. APG goes down. And Spacestation Gaming double their series lead. 1 game away from the grand finals.
Spacestation lost this one 50-49 back in Fort Worth. That, however, was a dominant performance. That is a team who has been working so hard to ensure that that game type does not let them down yet again. They outdid Optic, Optic's best game sometimes. Optic were trying to slow it down. They were happy to sit at the halfway line, and Spacestation said, sure, we can play this one slow too. We've got the Bulldog, we've got the Stalker rifle, and most importantly, they kept securing the Shroud screen so they could cover those rockets and pick up rockets every single time.
Bound with 4,168 damage. You can see his call sign on the map is Amen. 1 game away now. How they've gotten to this position time after time, and they've had to battle through the elimination bracket. The one time they did it in Utah, at Salt Lake City, the home of SSG, they won the trophy, they took home the gold. And are they now poised to push on and win the whole thing?
Yeah, just to reiterate that point, we have not seen a team win the tournament from the elimination bracket. Even though we had a bracket reset back in Fort Worth, SSG were unable to get the job done. They lost out to Optic Gaming. This could be everything for SSG's chances of trying to be world champions. Now, 2 of them have already been world champions back in Halo 5, but for Pznguin, but for Bound, imagine the thoughts starting to go through their mind as they are 1 step closer to lifting that trophy. But it is not job done yet. We know what Optic are capable of. We know how Optic can get a reverse sweep. So Spacestation have to stay focused here and have to stay locked in.
Confirmation on our screens of what we've seen. If you're just joining us, Spacestation Gaming hold a 2-0 lead. Empyrean CTF was back and forth, but they got what they needed to. 2-1 to score. 50-34. StelluR on streaks, and up next, Strongholds Recharge. And boy, oh boy, am I looking forward to that one.
Strongholds Recharge, this was the one map that Space Station were able to get over Optic Gaming in that grand final reset back in Fort Worth. This is the Strongholds game type that is the best for Space Station Gaming. This is the Strongholds game type that is the worst for Optic Gaming. Things are looking bad for the green wall, but we know that Optic, when their backs are up against said wall, they can get that job done. They have to dig deep now, otherwise they will find themselves in the elimination bracket where FaZe are hungry, FaZe are waiting, and FaZe want another stab at the green wall.
FaZe like the vultures, waiting to pick at the carcass of one of these teams. And right now, Optic Gaming looking very vulnerable. Now, SSG about to put a punctuation on this series and clean sweep the world champions. On board with Formal.
Space Station, one of the best at this game type. Not only do they move around the map together and well, but it's how they can lock down two strongholds already. A and B in their control. C is being contested because Optic have lost 3. And we are going to see an early trip cap. Now, spawns over towards A. Just keep an eye on how Space Station lock this down. They will watch Top Cat, they will watch Turbine. StelluR has that power weapon to stop any sort of pushes.
Candles have been lit. SSG has the shock rifle. Eco steps forward, looking to do a little bit of reconnaissance, and he found some trouble in there, a little bit of riff-raff. He goes down. A being held by Optic, converting C now. And will SSG opt to rotate? As Formal recognizes that, he pushes back towards A, attempting to block the spawns. Gets bound. A and C now for Optic.
That was a great push from Optic. They really avoided that shock rifle as soon as there was any indication of where StelluR may be. They just made sure they avoided those sight lines, but now A has been taken by Space Station, and this is their desired setup. This is when they usually thrive on this map and mode, but TriPPPeY gets an opener, which means that Space Station can't truly get the proper setup here. But StelluR is still roaming free at the moment, uncontested with this shock rifle.
Playing heavy metal Halo. Happy to close the distance. Grapple, meets repulsor. StelluR goes down. Formal gets the kill. Eco gets another. Trading slays for now. 11 kills to 8. But it's Space Station Gaming who have the lead and the strongholds.
The reigning world champions down 52-9 now. Do they believe, though, that they can come back into the game? One of the best ways to find out is to listen in. Let's see what's on the comms.
Looking at it. Yo, come back. Have shields, grab it. One shot. He choked. Orange door. He's double stack. On me, C-Ply, guys. On me, C-Ply.
They're gonna spawn A probably.
Go for it.
Last. Nice, we have They're gonna get
Caution. Neither. In caution. Either we.
Yeah, two guys caution.
Don't see neither.
Two guys caution. Still caution.
I'm looking.
Single stack.
That's in golden camo.
Double stack though.
I'm here. Double stack absolute.
Come on. Still far.
Battle. I'm shooting over you, meaning over you, Matt.
I get it. Push this out. Still A. One shot. Here. You went on top of that, rabbit.
Nice, man.
Okay.
Yeah, push this.
I'm gonna clear silo. Yo, pass out. Elbow. Yo, one shot.
One shot to you, back to you.
One shot here, guys.
Nice.
And C-Plat. Yo, two guys. One more. Double.
And B, guys.
Double stack.
R2-1.
He's half shields. One shot R1.
I can look around.
Nice. I'm gonna get on B.
They're gonna be gold.
Yo. I'm
Chill the
Going to there.
They're responding to that, man. Try to get out, man.
I'm backing up. Watch it.
Yo, long haul behind me. He's in sticky.
Sticky weak, penguin.
Hear that. There's a guy bat ledge too. Yo, one shot.
We never killed Penguin, right? Penguin today was shot. Okay.
I'm gold.
Well, it felt like we jumped into that at the perfect time as Optic. They do believe. There is no sense of doubt in their minds. I think they know they still have what it takes here to get back into this series. Very much locked in, all 4 players.
No doubt. But a sense of urgency as well. They've scooped up camouflage. The Space Station just start to eat away at that lead they got during the listen in. Formal playing this one sneaky. Gold steps now at the point. He's gonna push. Catches StelluR unawares. Not able to get the trade as StelluR 2 down now for SSG. Optic Gaming growing in confidence in this series. Space Station hit them with the Tombstone pile driver. It looks as though Optic could be about to kick out at 2.5.
I think this is what we needed to see from Optic. We needed a bit more pace, we needed a bit more life. Space Station wanted to play it slow and say, well, Optic, you're going to have to turn things up if you want to get back into it, and that's exactly what Optic have done. They've started to press those spawns more, they've started to push for the trip cap. They're not happy with just 2, and it means that Space Station have struggled a little bit on spawn here.
These players so talented. Each team capable of scoring 100 unanswered points. And Optic Gaming, lead continues to grow. 170 now to 100. They have gone 3 dead. This is the opportunity for Space Station to reply.
Considering this is one of the worst stronghold game types for Optic Gaming, you wouldn't know it. But again, that's one of the benefits from going from one event to another. It allows you to practice some of your worst game types, to find where those weaknesses are. And I think what Optic have realized is if they do play a little bit too slow here, if they are taking too much time to try and go for some of these pushes, they get punished for it. So instead, they're leading the charge together. They are pushing off spawn. They are engaging a lot quicker than we've seen in historic times.
Optic still hold B and C. Now pushing A. As it begins to convert, Formal trying to provide cover fire. Eco's dropped down from the heavens. Straight to the battle rifle. Formal gets a stick as well. Take that with you, fella, he says.
And again, they fight for C. They take down StelluR. All 4 are dead as Optic making a trip cap once more. And that clock is ticking far too fast for SSG's liking. They have to try and wrestle back either A or C here. B can be contested, but that just opens the gates for Optic to take the fight wherever they might choose.
This trip cap's been locked in tight. And they continue to score, do Optic. SSG have desperation on their minds. 4 dead now. As Optic Gaming show signs of life. We're going to a game 4. This series 2-1.
From one of their worst stronghold maps to what looks like one of their best. They found the right recipe. It took a good 50, 60 points on the side of SSG for Optic to work it out. But once they started cooking, boy was it good to watch. We've got a winners finals on our hands now. Optic refuse to roll over and show their belly.
I see. And with that win, do Optic Gaming now just plant the seed of doubt. What could have been a clean sweep. All of a sudden, SSG could be a little bit nervy.
Will SSG live to regret not taking them down here in just 3? Because as we go further into this series layout, it's when it starts to look a bit better for the green wall. But if we look back at some of the highlights, that stick was beautiful from Formal. Great game sense, great awareness of just knowing how to pitch that one up to the back ledge. But SSG, once they were kind of down, once they were on that spawn trap, they weren't able to escape it. Optic, they locked it in like you said. And it's an Optic Gaming who usually will just be able to fight for 2 strongholds, play very slow, wait for the pushes from Space Station. But they changed things up here and it worked perfectly.
We have a series on our hands. The world champions not going down without a fight and happy to be dragged into deep water. They've shown resilience in the past. It was being questioned this season. They silenced the haters, silenced the doubters. Looking to go back to back like Tox and CLG. But right now, it's SSG who still hold the advantage.
But I'm so happy that we get to map 4 of this series layout because these are our 2 best King of the Hill teams that we have in the league. One is 6-2 on this map implode, the other is 6-3. And that means we can have an absolute war on this map. Space Station, who are one of the first teams to really pioneer how to play King of the Hill when it was first introduced to the HCS. But Optic, they picked up on it very quickly indeed. This is going to be one of the best King of the Hills that you're going to see at this event.
2 of the best on this game type, 2 of the best in the league. And that's why they find themselves in the winners finals. As they clash on live fire. SSG need to win just one more game, and they'll punch their ticket to grand finals. But Optic Gaming will have a thing or two to say about that. We're underway in game 4.
Space Station have an 80% win rate across all King of the Hills in HGS competition. One of the best stats you'll hear about any sort of map and mode. But they need to now make sure that that stat counts here in map number 4. You've got to try and pin Optic Gaming right here, right now. Otherwise, if you start to let them get hot, we know what Optic can do. And we know Optic are going to be ready to get back into this one as Lucid starting to cook once more.
Lucid's causing whiplash. And your insurance company's not going to cover it. That much I can promise. Be in control, for now, of Optic Gaming as they start to eat away at that lead that SSG had. But it looks as though we're going to have a reset.
A little bit of a reset here in map number 4, which will just cool down Lucid ever so slightly, but I'm sure he'll be able to find the same form once we do get going. And unfortunately, just a little bit of an issue for Bound, and we'll get that one sorted to make sure that all the players have everything ready for competitive integrity. Now, Richie, I mean, it allows me to talk a little bit more about King of the Hill and why these two teams are so good at it. When you talk about the pace of which this game is played, and I'll just give an example of Space Station used to play the game of Strongholds, for example. Very quick, moving around the map, flying around corners, often double teaming, triple teaming other teams. King of the Hill, you have to play a little bit more slow. You have to try and be a bit more precise in your setups. And somehow, Space Station showed us that breaking setups is everything right at the start of when it was introduced. They were able to break the setup of any team when this was first added into the HGS. It didn't matter if it was Optic, it didn't matter if it was FaZe, they always found a way through. Similarly to what we saw in Imperial CTF, how Pznguin was able to get behind enemy lines, take down 2 players. SSG are capable of 1v2ing at times, and it makes them a very scary team to go up against.
And that was a criticism, if you could even call it that, of Space Station last year. They're this fast-paced team, they're playing hell to leather. But what they have done in the off-season, what they've done from tournament to tournament is develop this hybrid style now. They're no longer just that fast-paced, that one-dimensional team. They can do a bit of everything. And they're going to need to here to close out this series.
They've adapted to the meta time and time again, and you can see in the KD leaderboard, StelluR, one of the big reasons of it. He's been the forefront of Space Station gaming, leading the charge at times, but Pznguin, I have to give him credit with how he has been playing, considering he is only one of 2 on that main stage who hasn't been a world champion. I mean, he just has so much confidence in those gun engagements. And that's what you need. You need to look over at your teammates' POV and trust that they can take down whoever is going to be in their path.
And something that we've talked about Pznguin, whenever you mention the name, it's, he's this great objective player. He now finds himself in the top 5 of StelluR leaderboard. He's been getting kills now for his team. He's developed his role.
Well, if you play the objective, naturally you're going to be in more gun engagements in certain game types. You're going to have to be a good Slayer at the same time. And Pznguin knows what angles to be taking. He knows the positions that he needs to be holding. He does everything correctly, at times perfectly, when he plays the objective. And that's why he's such an important piece of SSG. On the flip side, oh, there's Pznguin's parents as well there, by the way.
Hi.
Great to see the support in the crowd.
That's Papa Pznguin.
Papa Pznguin. Papa Pznguin. On the flip side, for Optic Gaming, they have always lived and breathed a slower game style. But maybe not in that Strongholds game that we've just seen, but they love playing the sandbox. They love having the heatwave available to them. They will prioritize those weapons to try and frustrate their opponents. The plasma pistol will be used. So expect them to try and just annoy and just poke and prod at Space Station a little bit here in this King of the Hill.
As we get things set up once more, Optic, they found an answer. You spoke about how it was going to be SSG's favorite and better game type, and it was Optic who flipped the script, like we've seen SSG do in game 1s and 2. Where does it go from here?
It's literally gone the exact opposite of what we've seen in the grand final reset. Optic won the first 2, and then Space Station won the 3rd, and we flip this now, and Space Station do the exact opposite. And again, it is down to what I was talking about. It's practice between events. You don't really practice your best game types as much. Instead, you want to be focusing on those that you've been struggling in. You watch back the VOD. You look at how the team was able to beat you. I'm sure last night, Space Station and Optic were watching VOD back from that grand final reset. These guys know what map and modes they're going to be playing on the next day, so they would have been doing their research, they would have been studying, and it's definitely paid off here.
We've seen APG's better half briefly. That usually means APD is here, but the doggo's at home. Not here in Seattle. Perhaps that's for the best. There's not much grass around here.
Well, fist bumps all round as we're about to get back into map number 4 then. Are we going to see it all done and dusted here? Can Space Station find their way into that grand final, or can we see Optic start the fight back, start the reverse sweep possibilities? Will it be a map 5, or is it going to be Space Station in that grand final with that best of 7 advantage that also everyone desperately needs?
Still time for twists in the tail as we load in. A full reset on the cards. No advantages for either team. They get a second stab at it to change some of the starting strategies. Fix and tweak. It's time to go. On board with Lucid.
The green wall starting to get a little bit louder as they begin to believe the comeback can happen. Optic will start the scoring, but does that mean they give up the overshield? StelluR has not only the sniper rifle, but also control of this OB side. I think Space Station will say, okay, we'll give you a little bit of time here, probably just over halfway, but maybe we'll get the OB to work with, but maybe not. It's suddenly Formal, out of nowhere, will take down StelluR, but at least Eco has got the OB here.
Optic Gaming already got so much progress in this hill. Eco and Co have sacrificed so much to claim this overshield. Will it pay dividends? Lucid under bridge, down to half shields. Eco gets repulsed. It's a brawl. 3 dead now. Lucid trying desperately to survive, and unsuccessful in his attempt.
Optic would have loved to just put that first point on the board uncontested, but Space Station were very patient. They knew what they wanted. They spawned on that side, on the OB side, and they played for it accordingly. Now, we have to see Optic try and break through here. I credited Space Station for how good they are at breaking setups, but we know Optic are capable of it as well.
Bound. Being a nuisance in green. 2 members of Optic around him. But he has teammates putting down suppressive fire. Optic finally clear him out. Pznguin's still going to be an influence. TriPPPeY and Lucid combined. The Pznguin goes down 1-0 to the green wall.
The momentum is being carried over into map 4 here from Optic, even with the restart. Exactly what they needed to keep their dreams alive of getting into that grand final from the winner's side. Obi's going to be up soon. Lucid smokes it, but StelluR's already there and might just be able to use that smoke to his advantage. But no, Formal with the melee means he gets the kill, and Formal will be rewarded here with the overshield.
Optic, much like the Goonies, never say die. Battling from behind in this series. But they now seem to have found that form. Now they switch gears.
And here's the setup from Optic as well, just waiting in the wings, waiting for that push to happen. Unfortunate not to get the back smack there, as Pznguin, though, can't even push through top middle either. It looks like Space Station's push might be unsuccessful. Optic had eyes trained on every single avenue that had to be pushed here. There's one last desperate attempt. It's a 1v1, but Formal wins it. Spawns, though, over towards the dummies here. This means that there's a slight chance for SSG to still push this one.
Formal's in trouble. Formal goes down. And SSG have control. But again, Optic have so much time. It has to be flawless from here on out, or they'll find themselves down 0-2 in this King of the Hill. Sniper rifle pops out of the oven. We know StelluR's going to want a little piece of that.
Well, Optic broke that first setup so successfully, and they might do more of the same here, especially if TriPPPeY makes it a second onto Pznguin. Pznguin tries to dance, successfully will stay alive and shut down the Optic push. But Space Station have to be flawless here. They can't allow Optic to even step foot in.
Pznguin's a lot more comfortable in the ice. And that's exactly what's required here from SSG. They've almost completely eaten away at that lead. Overshield in 30 seconds. But Optic Gaming trying to push, trying to pressurize, not giving this one up too easy. 2 dead now for SSG. And the hole that they had, Optic Gaming have broken wide open. 2-0 now.
SSG cannot afford to allow Optic to get this much time at the start of every single hill. Optic are just a little bit quicker to the punch. Overshield's coming up. SSG are on the OB side though. They should surely be able to get this one. Got to remember that previous hill was all off of the back of Formal getting that overshield, stealing it from StelluR. But now SSG get a chance to have the overshield in their hands.
The crowd find their voice again. The green wall, we're looking shaky. The foundation's starting to dry. Looking a lot stronger now. As Penguin's in hill, a little bit of overshield left to play with. Optic Gaming slow this one down for now.
It's a big push over sandbags. Pznguin has to retreat. It's 2 for Optic. It's a successful break yet again. And now Spacestation find themselves just StelluR. It could be all 4 dead. It will be all 4 dead. As Optic, they managed to take control yet again here. And SSG just don't seem to have the answer for the pushes that are coming from the green wall.
Lucid eyes trained, bottom middle. Anticipating that's what's going to be the point to watch. Pznguin goes down. Killing spree from the former MVP. But Optic Gaming have all fallen. And it's now for them to break the setup with SSG eating away at that lead and just taking it.
This is why I was so excited to see this mapping mode between these two teams, because they're both so good at breaking that setup. Just calculating which avenue they need to be pushing as APG throws himself into the hill. But it's all 4 dead again for Optic as SSG make it 2-1 and keep their hopes alive in this map. We move over towards the overshield for the hill. Pznguin sticks his toes in, but he's not really sure where to be holding at the moment. He's listening to call-outs. He knows that Bound's in trouble and he wants to help him.
Stuck his toes in, didn't like the temperature, stepped out. And with good reason as the bodies continue to hit the floor. Optic Gaming get 3 dead. And Lucid sticks one onto StelluR. And now Optic can claim a little bit of map control.
This next overshield is everything. It can really influence where this hill goes as TriPPPeY desperate to stay alive, and not only that, but he shuts down Bound. He's still alive somehow, and he's got the cavalry with him. APG against StelluR, but the overshield is in StelluR's hands, but he will get shut down as Optic. They hold strong here. 3 minutes 20 left on the clock, plenty of time, and they will continue to score.
TriPPPeY says bye-bye as he waves them off. 2 dead for SSG, make it 3. The green wall, they're moving and grooving. Oh! Formal! You filthy animal!
That shot hit so hard it made your voice crack, and I don't blame you. As Formal starting to get heating up here, starting to heat up in every single way that Optic need. StelluR takes a body shot. And Optic again are so close to taking this 4th hill, excuse me, but their 3rd point.
Patience. That's what it takes now. Bide your time. Find openings. And what a small opening that is. Body shot connects. Pznguin will get away for now. But SSG on the ropes here in game number 4. Pznguin goes down. Formal truly in championship Sunday form now. 3-1 the score.
And Optic just took an extra second there to start to think about how they're going to set up for next. Are we in position? Do we have the tower? And Formal says yes, but needs to retreat here. He's a couple of shots down to StelluR, who goes on to take down APG. But they have top middle control, do Optic. Spacestation, how do they fight this one back? Overshield is very much going to be in the sight lines of a lot of these players, but Formal is still alive.
Not afraid of anyone on the map. Continues to put down damage. Like a turret at times. Another overshield for Optic. They're dissecting SSG right now.
I mean, they're up by so much in terms of slays, 62-48. This is all Optic's game. They've got the overshield, they've got the hill, they've got all the pieces they need to send us to a game 5. Do SSG have anything left in the tank here? They have to try and first force TriPPPeY out of this hill. You've got to go 2-on-1, but TriPPPeY gets a trade. Optic go 3 down. This is a last-ditch effort now from Spacestation.
This is Optic's game to lose. They spawn towards green. Lucid the furthest man forward. Bounds trying to clear it out. Formal on dice. Down to no shields. Continues to jiggle. Peak almost gets the kill. With a fadeaway jumper. Bounds shuts them down. SSG need this one. And they also need to keep time on the board.
New sniper coming up. That could definitely influence how this final moments go. Baron is still being a nuisance over towards tower. Assault rifle to try and shut down Lucid, confirms the kill, but suddenly Formal's in the hill. This is what Optic are doing very well now. They're forcing Space Station out of some of these positions by just stepping in that hill, forcing them to do something.
It's a little bit frantic. As Optic continue to apply the pressure, they can force mistakes. They've got so much time. 3 dead now for SSG. It's a 1v1, but TriPPPeY's got the hill. It's going to be a clash for the ages. Pznguin has got to do something, and does.
Confirms the kill, might confirm the hill, but nades coming in. Pznguin trying to stay alive. He ducks into the corner. It's 3-2. Game is still going. And Optic was so close to game 5, but now they have to hold strong. Loads of time on their clock. 1 minute and 52. We go back to the reset, back to the first hill over towards green.
Pznguin with his head between his knees just stays alive. Pushes this game on. And our SSG now starting to flip the script. There's momentum in their favor. TriPPPeY on big door. Has to do as much damage as he can. But the Slays now going in favor of Space Station.
Remember what I said earlier, Space Station were down by about 15 kills. Now they're only being outslayed by 4. They've really just turned this game on its head. Optic, who were just a slither away from game 5 now, might be on the brink of looking at a 3-3 series here. A 3-3 game as Space Station trying to hold strong, but now here comes the push from Optic. 2 down bottom middle, 2 over towards sandbags. They get the openers. Can they confirm them though? All 4 dead for Space Station. And Optic, they hold strong.
Optic hold the line. Continuing to turn the screw. Milking the hill now. Over towards green. Inviting the pressure on. Too easy. 2 kills for Optic Gaming.
This
and
is the setup.
SSG, they have to go again.
Yeah, this is the setup now for Optic. They've got it locked in. All 4 dead again for SSG. As Optic have the chance to send themselves into game 5. Maybe one last push for Space Station as TriPPPeY using that repulsor to full effect.
SSG have got to be calculated.
They've got to go.
And they've got to go now. Damage being put down, damage being exchanged. Sandbags being absolutely lit up as shell casings fly left, right and center. 3 dead for the green wall. Setup broken wide open now.
Oh, Bound gets it done. It's 3-3. And just like that, Space Station ripped this game away from Optic Gaming. We're back to the second hill. We're back over towards tower. And this game 4 has had everything. I promised you it was going to be one of the best King of the Hills you've ever seen, and it has not disappointed.
Who has the ice? Who has the stones? Overshield gone for Lucid. Being pressurized. He tiptoes up cuts but walks straight into a grenade. Numbers advantage now for SSG. And Optic need to wait to go again.
Slays almost even, but Optic still just edging Space Station here as Eco gets another one. Neither team really committing to the hill just yet. It is an absolute war down bottom middle. TriPPPeY gets one onto Bound. Lucid falls though. And still, neither team has been able to gain any control because they know if a setup is gathered by either team here, it could be the end.
Formal feels comfortable now to step into the hill. StelluR challenges. Loses his life. Pznguin trades it out. Plasma pistol not enough. Not sufficient to do the damage. Lucid and APG, they hold tower. And you know this push is coming very soon.
Eco's a little bit on his own, but he will just make sure he joins Bound. That's the right decision. SSG has to push together as Bound gets the opener. Boy, did SSG need that to break this setup from Optic Gaming. But Optic have got a lot of time here, Shurs. It means it's going to be a big old job for Space Station, not only to break through, but also to get a setup of their own.
Space Station need to tap into their inner Chris Jericho and break this wall down. Optic continue to hold Bound, just narrowly misses. Such narrow margins. What a difference one shot can make. 2 down now for Optic. And SSG start to claim some time.
If Bound can land one of these shots, it could be a game-winning shot for Space Station, because it could really stem a push from Optic Gaming. And they know it, they're avoiding it. Bound has just done enough to be a nuisance and stay alive here on tower, but the push has to come here. TriPPPeY gets the opener. Optic now starting to send their way to overshield as well. Lucid gets a double, but Bound is going to take the fight.
Lucid's in big trouble, but he comes out on top. 3 dead now. APG with overshield in chest. This looks like a game 5, baby.
As the green wall go wild, we head to a tiebreaker between the two. It's a game 5 in the winners finals. Exactly what the doctor ordered. And two teams who have dominated King of the Hill throughout the entire season clashed in what was one of my favorite games of King of the Hill I've ever seen. Setups broken left, right, and center, but also some of the best holds you'll witness on the main stage. What a game we've just seen, and Lucid 31 kills right at the end in that break. He gets a double, an unofficial triple as well with that final kill onto Bound. And Optic, the reverse sweep has started.
You promised me one of the greatest games of King of the Hill ever seen. And boy, did that not disappoint.
It's one of those where I really hoped it wasn't going to be a dominating performance from one team, but they're just so evenly matched and they all have such incredible strategy at how they want to try and break a setup. It was Optic at times just so confident. You push across top middle at times. You've got to try and do the unexpected. Spacestation are maybe expecting Optic to slow it down, take their time, try and dissect where they need to go, and then bam! Optic find themselves top middle. You see 3 players just flying at you, and you don't have the time to react. Optic played that one so well. They were down, they were out at times. But Spacestation, they fought hard. They brought it back. They forced Optic to play at their very best. And it means now we get a Game 5 Slayer to decide who is going to be in that grand final, who will have that best of 7 lead.
Optic had a 3-1 lead. We said this is their game to lose. And SSG almost found an answer, almost snatched victory from the jaws of defeat.
Honestly, at 3-3, that's what I mean. Optic looked down, they looked out. It looked like Spacestation had found that recipe for success. But all it took was one last push. APG secured the overshield whilst Lucid was doing the damage. And the green wall now find themselves 1 game away from a reverse sweep in the winners finals. Business, though, on the brain for all the boys as they take a quick break to make sure they're well rested.
Still work to do for these two teams. Neither one going away after 4. Games 1 and 2, SSG. 3 and 4, Optic Gaming. And as the pendulum swings back and forth, Optic Gaming now have a reverse sweep opportunity on the horizon.
And what is going through the brains of Spacestation Gaming? What did Elamite say to them backstage? Because they have to focus up now. They've let a 2-0 lead slip as we head into Slayer on Aquarius. Now, I don't know if you remember, but this was one of the most one-sided Slayers we had all tournament long at Fort Worth. It was a 50-23 victory in favor of Spacestation. They absolutely pummeled Optic on this map and mode. But again, we've seen how it hasn't necessarily transitioned that way, that it's a guaranteed victory just because it's one of your good game types. Optic would have certainly been looking at why they got pummeled in Slayer Aquarius.
Taking a look at the Slayer stats then, Formal compared with Pznguin, 1.37 to a very impressive 1.46. Dan, so little to separate these two.
It's the damage difference that is going to be the key takeaway here from this graphic. Formal is one of the best damage dealers in the league. Now, that's no discredit to Pznguin. We've already seen how important he's been to the SSG team. But if Optic are going to win this Game 5, a lot of it has to stem from Formal, how well he can anchor on a map like this, the amount of damage he can do from a distance, because you want to then let the likes of Lucid, the likes of TriPPPeY start to roam around the map and start to cook. Another player we have to focus on, and I always say it, and it seems right at the World Championships to do so, StelluR. On Aquarius, he is disgusting. He will be roaming around the map so freely. It reminds me of how Pistola used to play back in the day, just listening to callouts, waiting for a player to be weak, and then throwing himself at his opponent. StelluR loves this map, and SSG have found so much success all season long on Slayer Aquarius.
And on the other side, a man that's going to be oh so important is big game TriPPPeY. He's been the difference maker on a StelluR Aquarius time after time, scooping up the power-ups, getting himself the heat wave and causing carnage.
Yeah, of course, there was that highlight from an event where we saw TriPPPeY get behind enemy lines, get the sticky grenades out, having the heat wave, getting the doubles, getting the triples. And I think we're going to need to see a big play from either team. It's going to have to be something that can separate you from one of the other greatest teams in the world here, as Optic start to make their way back to the main stage, led by the man himself, Formal.
The world champions are on the march back to the main stage. Team talk complete. And do they now have what it takes to take down Spacestation? They were all but out after 2. But here we go, StelluR Aquarius, Dan. It's our last cast of the year, and I couldn't be wanting anything better than this.
It's an extremely exciting prospect because this could arguably be the most important StelluR games you'll ever see at the World Championship, because we've already known we have not seen teams from the elimination bracket win the tournament. It has been the team that progresses from the winner's side winning every championship so far this year. So this could be a StelluR game that wins you a championship almost. And of course, yes, there's going to be a lot to do once you get to that grand finals. But that best of 7 advantage you have is going to do absolute wonders for your confidence. Optic, they have all the momentum in the world. Is it going to be another chance, another stab at a world championship for the likes of Formal? Or can SSG find themselves in that grand final just like they did at Salt Lake City?
And for Formal all those years ago, with a friend's request sent to APG, which was declined, and he responded, "I don't know you." Formal replies, "Get to know me." And now the two of them share a stage, looking to go back-to-back world champions. What a story. He's done it all. And he finds himself here once again, under the bright lights in Seattle, looking to punch his ticket to the grand finals.
So Optic Gaming, they're 8-5 at StelluR Aquarius across the season. It's a 7-5 for Spacestation, but we've got to focus on the domination of that game in the grand final reset at Fort Worth, where Spacestation, they staked them. And if they find any sort of form similar to that, then it could be bad news for Optic. But momentum is so much behind the green wall right now. A reverse sweep on the horizon, fist bumps all round. The world champions are locked and they are loaded, but the challengers of Spacestation, they can still get this job done. They can still find themselves in the grand final. I want to see what Eco has up his sleeve. What does the mastermind have prepared for Optic Gaming here on StelluR Aquarius?
When you begin your career, these are the games you want to be involved in. You watch your idols become your rivals. And as you stare across the stage against world champions, on both sides, they've been here before. It's time to show up or show out. And for one last time, shields up, weapons hot, we're underway.
And already, Formal gets a pick onto Bound. Optic get the opener. Just what they needed to take a little bit of map control and continue the momentum that they found in the last 2 maps here. APG gets aggressive onto P. He shuts down Eco. And Spacestation, with their tails between their legs, have to be careful. But StelluR, bottom middle, as always. A nuisance, as always, gets 1 kill on the board.
3-1 the score. Pznguin desperately trying to survive with the heat wave. Formal ensures that will not be a possibility any longer. 5-1. Great start for the green wall. Bound's in massive trouble. Just about getting away, but not for long. Formal's there again.
Are we going to see Optic do exactly what Spacestation did to them in that grand final reset? We see so many games that just snowball out of control on Aquarius here because of the likes of the heat wave, the likes of the dominance you can have with map control here. Because you can go from spawn to spawn, you can pinch once, you can pinch twice. It's 7-1. Now here for Optic Gaming. It could even be more as Lucid puts another onto the board. Formal will take the fight. Formal will win the fight. It's a killing spree already. And Spacestation should be worried because Optic are in championship form.
5 kills without reply in a Game 5 winners finals for Formal. What a way to start. SSG only have 2 here. And they're reeling. If they're not too careful, they're about to be reverse swept.
14-2. The dominance that we saw from Space Station Gaming in the early stages has been ripped away from them. As Optic Gaming now asserting their own and showing us why they should be considered the best team in the world. Lucid makes it 15. Space Station again just trapped in a corner here. It's easy pickings here for Optic Gaming. This could be an absolute blowout.
It's formal season right now. And he's hunting. Patrolling the map. All of SSG trapped over towards the closet, and StelluR spawns back up and tries to help his teammates. And he locks horns with Formal. And he goes down to Formal. He's hitting everything that moves right now.
They need to shut Formal down, and there we go. Finally, they're able to take him out of the game. 21-8, make it 22. Space Station so far behind, but you can flip this game on its head. If Space Station can regain control, if they can get the power weapons, maybe get a QT to help them have those free pushes. Comeback potential can always happen on StelluR Aquarius, but it's whether Optic allow it to happen. 2 more kills for SSG, 3 dead for Optic Gaming, and now Space Station do have a little bit more control, down by 12.
SSG find their feet after that quick flurry from Optic. Down, swing and a miss. Gets the job done, and he answers back with a killing spree of his own.
We have seen gigantic comebacks on the main stage, but Optic Gaming not really one to throw away a game like this, especially when they're in this kind of form. And Space Station will know that. Space Station know they're going to have to play some of their best Halo if they're going to get back into this game. And it has to start really with a little bit more height presence. There's a lot of bottom middle roaming at the moment. There's a lot of trying to push through P1 that's being punished by the green wall. Space Station are getting caught out time and time again. And it's because they were just overwhelmed at the start of this game. They've finally been able to reset, but was the damage already done in the early stages?
Game slows down to a crawl. Both teams acutely aware of what this one means. Have Optic Gaming already put themselves in prime position as TriPPPeY gets a pick with the commando. Bound unable to survive. And now they can begin to collapse with the numbers advantage on the car side. Lucid gets one more. SSG answer back, but it's a 2-for-1 trade on the map.
Well, the last time we went into a listen-in with Optic Gaming, they were 2-0 down in the series. Now they are ahead. Let's see what the comms are like. Let's see what the vibes are like for the green wall.
Trader Brad. One shot commando.
The other guy's one mat.
I don't see him.
Nice. He went down there, Joey. Did you get it?
I know I did.
It was yellow pink door. It was yellow pink door.
Yellow gen.
That's all you do.
Two guys yellow gen.
Two of us are pink side.
Yo, breathe, guys. Breathe.
Deep breath, guys.
They're strong.
I'm looking pink. I'm looking pink. Yeah, just sit.
Yeah, I'm gonna push yellow gen.
One shot yellow fridge here.
You kill yellow gen. Yellow flag, guys. Yellow flag.
Yo, Lee, I killed yellow fridge.
Fire behind you guys. Fire behind you.
Chasing.
So,
Yellow pink. Hey, you guys yellow pink. You guys yellow pink.
Pink one absolute.
Pink two guys.
Watch out, pink one absolute.
And yellow fridge. Yellow fridge.
Behind me, yellow P1.
Okay, one shot P1.
Absolute P1.
Yes, they have a thrust.
Deep breaths are the words from Lucid yet again, but for a very different reason. This time, they are ahead. This time, they are only 10 kills away from the grand final and a reverse sweep against Space Station Gaming. This has been a masterclass from Optic.
The series is in their hands. 1 foot in the door of grand finals. Up by 12 now, needing 9. An APG, the midway point of the map. Looking for targets, looking for enemies, finds StelluR. Does more damage than he receives, gets the trade. And that's all they need right now.
Literally 1-for-1 trades, and Optic will be absolutely fine. 8 more required. Formal court, bottom middle will get taken down. Suddenly Space Station only 10 behind. Now, at one point, it was upwards of 15, so at least they are slowly crawling their way back in. They've pinned Optic back here, but if Optic can break out, if Optic can get a set of slays here, this game will be very close to ending, but 2 more on the board for Space Station. This one's not quite done yet.
Lucid lines up one, tried to get a second. But again, trades are perfect. Trades more valuable than anything else right now, as they require 6. And Optic Gaming all touch tight with one another, able to capitalize on any damage put down. Bound in the fridge, tapping out, crying for help. Nothing's coming right now. But Optic happy to hold what they have, happy to hold the map, and wait for SSG to overstep the mark. APG gets another, but it's 3 dead. Optic so close to grand finals.
It's 3 dead, but it doesn't matter because Optic just need to be getting that 1 kill for every push now, and they will be in that grand finals. They were down 2-0. I was wondering if they'd be a little bit dejected, whether they'd be a little bit slow, but their comms were everything we went to the listening. 2 kills now required for the green wall here, and they are on the hunt. They are looking for a...
1 more kill. Brazilian shown. The world champions are going back to the grand finals to do it all again.
An unbelievable display from the green wall as the fans erupt here in Seattle. The World Championship has given us absolutely everything, and it's a reverse sweep that sends Spacestation down into the elimination bracket when they will face a very hungry FaZe. But for Optic, it's all about the resilience that you mentioned, to be down 2-0, to still force the game into your way, to have that momentum on your side. Every single Optic member played their part in what was one of the best winners finals we've seen in quite some time.
What a series. Elation for Optic Gaming, but misery for SSG. They now have to pick themselves up off the floor as they're going down to clash again with their old rivals in FaZe Clan. But for Optic, again, far too icy on Championship Sunday. They were down, but not out. They got the shoulder up, and they began to cook. The reverse sweep on your screens. And who could bet against them becoming world champions again?
And it's kind of crazy that only one of those 5 game types had the same result as what we saw in Fort Worth. Both teams putting the practice into perfect play here in the World Championship, turning some of their worst game types into arguably some of the best that I've seen. That King of the Hill, for me, will live on forever. I think that was 2 of the best teams at that game type, going down, going against each other. It was beautiful.
Fans called for his head this season. He's going to another grand finals. He's a world champion. He's silenced the haters. Blaze is with APG.